Hey everyone, my name is Doug Spencer. I'm the co-CEO of Bold Xchange, the most convenient way to buy Black online. It is Black Business Month. It's August. And so this month, Bold Xchange is partnering with Max Out Time to feature both Black business owners and the change makers that support them throughout the month of August. We're excited for this partnership and to bring you several episodes throughout the month. And I'm sitting here with Marcus Isiah. Marcus, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you so much for making the time for us to rap a little bit.
Of course.
So I don't want to steal your thunder too much. Tell us a little bit about Marcus Isiah and Southwxst Luxuries.
Yes, sir. So yeah, Marcus Isiah, born and raised in Tucson, Arizona. Went to school on the East Coast, lived on the East Coast for a little bit. And I kind of learned a little bit about business while I was working for another firm and kind of realized that I needed to kind of start my own thing if I really wanted to kind of live the life I always envisioned growing up. And so I kind of learned about Turo, which is the Airbnb for cars. And I saw that it was popping off in big cities like Atlanta, New York, LA. And it was starting to gain traction in Phoenix, Arizona, which is 2 hours north. And it's like the bigger city in Arizona. And I kind of just saw it as an opportunity to go back to my hometown and kind of just go all in, because I saw that there are only like 25 cars on the platform. So I went all in. I got 7 vehicles off the rip, and I listed them on Turo, and I've just been running a car rental business for the past couple of months. I'm on month 3 now. So it's been going pretty well. It kind of took off quicker than I expected, but we're here. And so I have 4 luxury vehicles and 3 economy vehicles. I have a BMW, I have a Benz, I have a Jeep, I have a Tesla, Chevy Trax, a Honda Civic, and a Toyota Camry. So kind of just the full spectrum of cars.
Man, like you sparked so many questions. Open. My first one, because we gotta, I hope people who are paying attention, car rental business, you started, you saw the opportunity. How did you get the cars? Like, it might be some secret sauce to that, but like, whatever you can share that you feel comfortable with, like, what was that process of the cars?
Yeah, so I mean, just again with the Southwxst brand, it's the luxuries for the car rental, and then I also have advisors, which is focused on financial literacy and credit. And so I went through the roller coaster of having good credit, bad credit, and then back up to good credit. So I built a very strong credit profile. And when you walk in, at the end of the day, dealerships and car salesmen just want to get cars off the lot. And so when you walk in with a damn near bulletproof credit profile and credit report, along with income that you can prove, they essentially kind of grant you what you need in terms of getting cars, acquiring cars. So that was one aspect of it. The second part of it, I would say, I mean, just making investments a couple of years ago, they kind of came to fruition, both in the stock market and on the crypto side. So I had some pocket change to kind of use as leverage as well. And then lastly, I would say, if anybody's ever gotten a car, I would just pay attention to the date that you got the car and the date that it showed up on your report. And that's what I can say about that.
Ooh, little gems. You gotta subscribe to get the full story. So please subscribe to the Max Out Time podcast, but also subscribe to Southwxst Luxuries, Southwxst Advisors. We're gonna make sure you get all that info towards the end. But something else you just made me think about, you walked me through a lot of steps there. And I think we both can agree that with entrepreneurship, the ideas are cheap, right? Someone else probably saw the opportunity in Tucson or elsewhere, but they didn't act on it. So like, what was that spark, or what was your inspiration to say, hey, I see this opportunity. I'm going to go to the dealerships. I'm going to make sure my credit is right. Like, there's got to be something that clicks there. And like, what was that for you?
I didn't necessarily grow up in the most blessed financial situation. And so to me, I've always approached life, and it can't get worse than that. So for me, the way I saw it was, okay, I have this W-2 job that I'm working. This is how long it's going to take me to reach this position. I'm looking at other people who are kind of above me in the structure, in the corporate structure, and I'm just realizing like, I don't know if that's necessarily like my ideal. So the way I saw it was, I can go all in, and if it doesn't pan out and doesn't work out, then I just kind of start back to where I was when when I was pontificating, when I was dreaming. So that was kind of like the reason why I took that big leap of faith, because the way I saw it was like, it can't get worse than where I was at the time, which was like not really enjoying life, because I was just kind of committing to somebody else's dream and to somebody else's hustle. And so that's just how I approach things. And, you know, I'm just very big on, you only live once, and so you might as well go for it and shoot your shot. And then the second thing I would say is my mom and I kind of worked on a party rentals business when I was in high school. So she left her full-time job to start a party rentals business. And so I kind of, without even realizing at the time, of course, because, you know, I was 16, 17 years old, I kind of saw firsthand what it was like to run your own business, and then like how important customer service was. And so when I looked on Turo and I kind of saw like the landscape in Tucson, I saw that like people weren't going hard with the customer service, because I was seeing the reviews, and I was seeing that like I said earlier, there were about 25 cars. So I knew that if I came in with a bang, with like having 7 cars and posting on social media and just being consistent with it, I knew the money and success would follow. And so yeah, that's really what it was. I kind of had some past experience, and then just the way I approach life in general is kind of just, why not go for it?
I mean, your answers are great. So you're sparking a bunch of things for me, but I want to stick with the content piece, because I think you do a great job with your content. And like you said, customer service, I think it kind of comes from the background, like you were saying, with car rental, party rental. It's a certain style of small business, which is like super important. Like, how do you think about content, whether it's your philosophy for content or creating content? What is your process like?
I mean, I kind of just, whenever I go to like make a piece for the marketing part of it, I just think of what catches my attention. And I know for me personally as a consumer, like flashy letters, colors, kind of just straight to the point, and then providing some game and then also some inspiration. I think that's what I guess that was another reason why I got into this so heavy, was because I want other people to see that it's possible to start your own business. And even if you don't want to start a car rental business and have a full fleet, like you can have your own personal car on Turo and start making residual income, passive income on that if you're not using it. Or you can carpool with somebody and you can start, you know, renting your car out on Turo. It's a little easier than like going the Airbnb route, where you literally have to have a whole crib in order to rent it out. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, so just back to the content piece, like that's kind of just the ingredients that kind of attracts me. So I just kind of did it with my own little twist. And so, I mean, I'm very self-aware too. Like I know that the Isiah, Southwxst Luxuries. Isiah, Southwxst Luxuries. I know that like it's funny, and it's like I've even had my friends clown me and stuff like that. But like I lean into it because I know that people will remember it, and if they see it, then they'll automatically make that connection. And honestly, at the end of the day, if it's bringing in revenue, I'll do whatever, as long as it's with true intentions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was actually through the spiel of what's up, it's Isiah from Southwxst. I love when it comes up on my feed, I stop, because like you said, I know that it might only be 20 seconds a game, but it's going to be something valuable, and then I'm on to the next thing. And I feel like that's how you have to be. Now you make me think too, I can't remember what like online college it was like, you sitting on your couch anyway.
Oh yeah.
You never forget those.
With Lil Romeo.
Yeah, well, not ICDC College. There's another one. His song, you can't forget ICDC.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about though. Yeah, so exactly. I mean, it's just it's stuff like that. And especially because we are in such our attention spans are so much lower now, especially for our generation, that you gotta just get straight to the point. And so that's why I like the reels. And sometimes the reels take off. Like you just never know what can pop off. And I know like I've seen it happen with other mediums, whether it's music or just entertainment in general. So, you know, I just need one. And in fact, somebody, when I was driving the Beamer with the drop top, somebody pulled up next to me and like asked what I did, and I told them that I have a car rental business. They're like, "Oh, you're that dude from Instagram in Tucson." So like, it's obviously working.
Right.
So, and again, it's just word of mouth, and like that's why the customer service piece is so important to me, because like anytime somebody brings up Isiah and Southwxst Luxuries, I want them automatically to know like, 5-star review, top customer service, end of story. That's it.
Yeah. So I want to dig a little bit more because I think customer service in general, it's a very like selfless and sometimes thankless thing. You know, you're bending over backwards to make sure that your customers feel great. That's what you have to do in business, right? But I
Yeah.
think what comes to mind for me is it's a very like get it out of the mud kind of mentality. And that might be from your upbringing. But I
Yeah.
think you're a humble guy. You would never really talk about it. But from those beginnings, you're super smart and hardworking. You went to a very prestigious university. And just by doing well at that school, you pretty much stamped your ticket to be able to do whatever on a traditional path you wanted to do because you did this, you know, these steps. What was it for you that was like, hey, I might be perfectly fine, you know, doing this other route, but that's not going to be me, knowing that a lot of your friends and people you really love are doing that other thing. It's not a right or wrong. It just wasn't for you. So like, what was that process for you?
Man, that's a great question. It's something I think about literally every day. So I'm glad you asked that, because I think just to keep it succinct, when I interned, when I was growing up, always wanted to help my community, and like I always felt that I had an opportunity to make it out. And so I always just had in the back of my mind, okay, like whatever I learn out there in the world, I need to bring it back to my hood and like try to help people out in some way. Because even if I help, you know, like 5 people, like that might spread out and they might help their families, their family members, that might help their friends, you know what I mean? So like I always just had that mindset. And so I would say when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to work in politics because I thought that's where the real change was coming from, because that's kind of like what TV taught us. That's what textbooks taught us, stuff like that, AP US history, like all that. And so when I got to, I interned on the Hill going into my senior year, and I realized that it was just the kind of like the overarching game was kind of a scam if you don't necessarily work for yourself, or kind of like do things to make yourself happy and provide for your family. Like you have to have some type of, even if you are going the traditional route, like I still push everybody to kind of do what they love and try to make some type of money from it, especially with the internet now. Like it's possible to do it. And so I just realized, like, you know, I went to Duke, and so I think all in total cost, let's just say it was like 250 bands, you know what I'm saying? So like, to me, if somebody had to take all that out in loans, or they're paying 250,000 to go there, and the best job they can get right out of college is Wall Street, making a base salary of 85K, that just seemed upside down to me. So then going into my senior year, I always had the thought to like, I'm gonna have to do my own thing eventually, so I might as well start sooner than later. And so that's when I started kind of just learning from people I worked with, as well as like the firm I was working at. Like I encourage everybody to kind of try to see wherever they're working, if they are in that traditional path, to kind of see what's happening behind the scenes on the business side, so that you're equipped and ready to go in case you want to go your own route. And so that was always in the back of my mind. And so, I mean, my long-term goal is to not have any regrets on my deathbed. And so that's really what it was for me. Like I've always been a hustler. Like I've always tried, like the first thing I did when I turned 18 was open a bank account so I could control my own funds. And so, yeah, I hope that answered the question. Like I just feel it inside that I need to provide for myself, because it didn't make sense for me to go to an office 8 to 12 hours a day and be upside down when it came to like how much I was making compared to the people that were actually running the operation.
Yeah, no, you answered the question and then some. I mean, boss moves. Like I wasn't opening a bank account at 18. So,
Yeah.
but I think what you also are touching on there is I feel like you're a visionary in some ways. And I think entrepreneurs have to be visionaries because you're seeing something that doesn't exist yet and like you're believing in it. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to shift a little bit to bring in mental health to that, because I think there's a few different parts of it. One, you're taking the road less traveled, and you got to be okay with that. But also too, when you talk about day in, day out, you got to be on it for your customers, or knowing that the next day is going to be better than today. Like, how do you manage your own mental health? Like, are there certain activities or like things that are baked into your everyday that help you?
Yeah, man, that's super underestimated, because social media, it shows like, again, all the highlights and that I'm hustling. I'm up early at 5:30 a.m., but people don't really see that like there are days where I'm just overwhelmed with how much I put on my plate between the car rentals, between in the financial literacy piece too, because I'm also helping people on the side with that. And so, I mean, the two things that really bring me joy, or I say three things that bring me joy, are music, basketball, like hooping or just physical activity in general, and also just like hanging out with the homies. And so I've kind of got in a rhythm now where I kind of know my limits, and I know that if it gets to a point where like I'm kind of stuck and frozen and I have all these things to do on my plate and I just don't want to do any of them, that kind of is a trigger in my head where I need to go play basketball, or I need to like go listen to music or make music, or I need to hit up somebody like, yo, let's go chill. Like, and that's totally okay. And I've realized that like you can be on 24/7, but like part of being on is making sure like your mental's right. So
yeah,
that's kind of how I approach it. Just like as soon as I feel like I'm suffering or I feel like I'm overwhelmed, I immediately go to the other extreme and leave the business inside, and I like go outside and like try to have some fun.
Yeah, no, I think that's important.
Yeah.
That's really important. And I think something great about what you said is it's not one thing. Like there's no magic bullet. Like every time, or, you know, a certain situation might call for something different. So I think it is nice to have, you know, several different things to work on. I guess my last question before I make sure you get your shout outs, and we're going to pause there. Follow Southwxst Luxuries, follow Max Out Time on all streaming services and YouTube. But I think related to that last question, I just want to ask, you got a lot on your plate, like you said. I think it's one thing to have the balance, or I guess to try to bring yourself back to level. But how do you find harmony between all the different things you're working on? Because there's always something pulling at you, right? Like whether it's family or the different business projects you got on, just your personal life. Like, what does that harmony look like? I say harmony because I don't think balance exists for an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So how do you find that harmony for you?
I think for me, just realizing that in life you have a finite amount of energy and a finite amount of time. And so I kind of had to make a decision before I got into everything that I'm doing now. It's kind of like, okay, again, back to the like not wanting any regrets on my deathbed. When I'm looking back, like what did I need to cut out in order to like make room for the stuff that I really want long term? And so for me, I kind of stopped going out. I stopped partying, like all that stuff. Like I was heavy into that scene. I mean, you know me from college and stuff like that. Like I was heavy into that scene, even when I first got my job and I lived in DC and New York. And so the way I found the harmony was kind of planning out my days and just knowing, okay, like these are things like have to get done. I have to deliver a car. I have to pick up a car, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, that's the first layer. Then the second layer is, okay, what would I like to do? Okay, I want to teach somebody about credit. Okay, I want to make some music. Okay, so that's like the middle tier. And then the last one is like just the cherry on top stuff that if there's time, all right, cool. So like that would be like the going out and politicking and stuff like that. And if it needs to get cut out, I just had to be okay with like sacrificing that in the short term for the long-term success and long-term vision to play out. So that's kind of just how I find harmony amongst everything. Just kind of just knowing what's important to me.
Man, that was 10 years a game in 20 minutes. Like, no, that was amazing. Well, that was my last question. Like I said, I think I want to make sure that the floor is yours. How can people find Marcus Isiah and the different projects that you've got going on? What's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, I would say go to my Instagram. So it's Marcus MARCUS _ISIAH. And then from there, you can see in my bio that I have my advisors page, which has all the credit game, the luxuries, which has all the luxury type stuff, and then the music and stuff like that, if people want to check that out too. But that's probably the best way. And then I have websites for Southwxst Advisors and luxury. So just got to type it in. Southwest with the X, because we're trying to find the X factor in people.
Oh, see, he had to give you one last nugget in there. But no, thank you so much, Marcus. And thank you all for listening. You have been listening to a partnership between Bold Xchange and Max Out Time called Bold Business Time, happening all August, which is Black Business Month. Again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe on all social media platforms, audio, podcast platforms, YouTube. and catch the next episode. So again, thanks, Marcus.
Thank y'all.